Hello, welcome everyone to the Bridge Cultures. The Bridge Cultures is a informative lectures about different cultures around the world based on the consciential paradigm. And this is promoted by ISIC, the Assistential Service for the Internationalization of Conscientiology. Let's go to our video. Hello again. Today we have a special guest, Giuliana Costa, and she's going to present about international conscientiological teaching. Welcome, Giuliana.
Hello, everyone. Welcome everybody to this talk about international teaching in conscientiology. So this presentation was first presented at the Parapedagogical Conference last year. It was a remote and online conference promoted by Reaprendencia, is the conscientiocentric institution that I'm volunteer with. So this is the result of our experience as an institution of conscientiological teaching on an international level. Yes.
Perfect, Giuliana. Let's can we present yourself? Can we present you?
Yes.
Okay. Giuliana is Brazilian, but she lives in South Africa. But she was born in Itapira, in Brazil. She's PhD in Geology, MBA, volunteer of Conscientiology since 2010, conscientiological instructor. This is going to talk about her experience, of course, and Penta practitioner since 2015. Is the author of 20 verbets of the Encyclopedia of Conscientiology and the author of the book Autobiography of a Consecutive Personality Experiencing Africa Through the Lens on the Consciential Paradigm. That is available in Amazon. We're going to send the link for you all. So that's it. Yes. A lot of experience with Giuliana. So when you want, you can start your presentation. Say to everyone that feel free to ask questions in any time. Giuliana is going to be very available during the presentation. And then we are going to invite Eliana Voslav with the questions because it's related to this work too. So she's going to help us.
Yes. Firstly, we wrote this article about our experience as international conscientiological teaching with Giuliana Voslav last year. We presented together during the Parapedagogical Conference, and she may join us to answer any questions because we have improved a lot since we presented this article last year. Next.
Okay, perfect.
So first thing, the principle of disbelief is one of the principles of conscientiology. So do not believe in anything you read or you hear in this presentation. Please do your own experiments, have your own experiences, always have your critical thinking. Okay, next. So those are some contents of my presentation. We share our experiences, challenges, advantages, and drawbacks of the online Fundamentals of Conscientiology course, mainly in Europe. But I will show other countries that also participate in those courses, but most of them were students, people interested in conscientiology living in Europe. We also present an historical of Reaprendencia's online courses and a hypothesis of intensification of Railbacks in the European continent. Next. So this is just an overview, because between 2015 and 2020, we observed an increase of groups of study and voluntary work in Europe, mainly from Germany, France, Switzerland, Denmark, Finland, Sweden, England, Romania, Portugal, Spain, and Italy. So all over Europe, this was like spread. So there was also an expansion of conscientiocentric institutions in North and South America. In Africa, we have people coming here to volunteer to donate books, but mainly the work done here was mostly my participation doing courses, promoting courses in conscientiology, being an instructor, also in Australia, but mainly, as I said before, in European countries. So the groups of CIs, the conscientiocentric institutions, more engaged was the Invisible College of Paraurbanology. That is a group that discuss specifically the theory of Railbacks that I will be talking about that later on in this presentation. Study groups such as Railbacks, Connectance, and Theatical, those three groups, we provided them fundamental courses in conscientiology by referência, and also other CIs like Apex, Consecutivos, OIC, and Evolucine, and ASIP, they also promoted conscientiological courses. But the focus here is on the referential experience. It doesn't mean that other institutions were engaged in the Railbacks, in expanding conscientiology, but I cannot talk for them, so I'm just mention them here, just to let you know that there's also other volunteers of conscientiology doing international work according to the conscientiological paradigm. Next. So the following facts could be observed. So, the groups of work focusing on different conscientiological specialties with synergy and interdependency. And that means, for example, they have the ability to choose what they want to study. For example, the Railbacks, they want to focus more on self-psychology, and all those groups were supported of UNICEF. This is the main institution that regulate all those conscientiocentric institutions, and they were very welcoming by the Brazilian CIs. So this means that there was a lot of support from the main CIs in Brazil, which is very important because they provide, how to say, the original material of conscientiology with the right terminology, providing the right way to study the conscientiological paradigm. So they have autonomy to research. They can have any meetings they want, anytime, and welcoming new attendees, new people that want to join them. And we have a hypothesis that this is the beginning of the understanding of the maxi-proaxis. What that means, that this is a big existential program that involves not only intermissivists in Brazil, but also intermissivists all over the world, being Brazilians or non-Brazilians, non-Portuguese speakers. So that means now we are engaging more people, welcoming other cultures, other languages, and providing them more knowledge on conscientiology. So we could observe that growth in the interest of the ideas of conscientiology in different nationalities, profiles, ages, occupations. So that was quite interesting because we could observe that there's a potential for more intermissivists all over the world that we can reach through language, through online courses, and through the educational specialty of Capendentia as well. Next. Other important events happened in the meantime or at the same time. We have those courses, the fundamentals of conscientiology happening. So the first and the second International Week of ISIC in 2016 and 2018 in Iguaçu Falls in Brazil. So the first international meeting of intermissivists that happened in Strasbourg in France. So those were big events that people from all over the world could attend and understand the consciential paradigm and could have access of material in English because mainly the material was in Portuguese. So there was also an increase in translation of several conscientiological books from Portuguese to English to Spanish and even Romanian. So there's an important group in Romania that is translating books from Portuguese to English. So this is important to spread the knowledge of conscientiology and welcoming new intermissivists. And other important and a big step into conscientiology was the release of the English-Portuguese glossary of essential conscientiology terms. So before the release of the glossary in English, it was very difficult to define conscientiological terms. For example, for me to do this presentation before the release of the glossary, I have to guess what was the correct letter, correct word to use in my presentations. So after that, it was defined a book, a glossary that I can use to guide me to understand better conscientiology in English. And another important release, I think was released this year, was the glossary in Spanish and Portuguese for the Spanish speakers. So those are big steps. It took a while. It took time. It takes time to do that kind of work. It demands a lot of translation, and now we see there's like this corpus of material in English and also coming now in Spanish and also Romanian. And we also have volunteers in the US with several courses, lectures, and perhaps psychodynamics and knowledge pills. Those knowledge pills are videos, short videos that the volunteers do just to have like a pill, like a test, like for you to taste what conscientiology is in few words, just to hook new intermissivists and bring them into conscientiology and help them to recover cons. Next. Those are the classes of the fundamentals of conscientiology. We have 20 classes. Each one has 2.5 hours, comprising 50 hours course. It's a long-term course that you have, for example, now we have one happening now in Portuguese. So it comprises all the basics of conscientiology, from the evolution of human knowledge to how to self-master bioenergies, projectology. And at the end of the course, we offer the students the possibility to do a consciential self-education program. So the person is able now to carry on his or her own self-research. So it's a very, very long course, very deep into the basis of conscientiology If you have any doubts about any terms, about anything that is defined in conscientiology about energies, holocarmology, about past lives, about your mission in life, your existential program is offered in this course. So next. Just a short history of the fundamentals of conscientiology. That was mainly in Portuguese for attendees from several countries in Europe, as mentioned there, and some of them were Brazilians living in Europe, and others are European citizens. And the difference of those courses is the polyglotism, because we have the graduation of 7 conscientiological instructors, fluent in English and also in other languages, as I mentioned in this slide. So this was the formation of international instructors that can speak Portuguese and English and attend the demand for intermissivists that speak English and Portuguese. So the graduation was a ceremony in Frankfurt in Germany in 2016. So today, those instructors are working in different institutions, engaging for more conscientiological courses. And next. In 2016, we have Fundamentals of Conscientiology in Switzerland, with 10 students from Germany, Portugal, and Switzerland. We have 4 instructors, 2 from Germany and 1 from South Africa, that was myself, and other one from Turkey. That was my first experience of my graduation in 2015. So this was a mixed course. So we have online classes and face-to-face classes. Where the classes were done was defined by the closest locality for the attendees in Europe. In that case, was in Zurich, in Switzerland. So it can vary, but it's mainly due to where the most attendees live and where is the best way, the easiest way to all of them to be together. Next. So this is just a map to illustrate where was the demand for courses. If you look at the legend, we have stars in red and blue. The red means the instructor location, and the red one was the location of students. So if you look at the map, there's mainly instructors and students in Europe. I was the only one based in South Africa. Thankfully for the technology, for the remote classes that gave me the opportunity to participate in that course. So you can see it's mainly Europe students, and so there's a demand in that continent. Next. So in 2015, we have Fundamentals of Conscientiology in Portugal for that group of study that called Teaticon. So there was 17 attendees. At the time, it was 2 instructors in Germany and myself in Mozambique. At that time, I was living, working there. So it was also a mixed course with 8 online classes and 12 face-to-face classes in Portugal. So if you see the dynamic of the places, for example, I couldn't go to Porto to do the face-to-face classes, but the instructors, they went to Portugal to meet the attendees and provide them the classes in their country, because they're all in Portugal. So there was no sense for them, for example, to go to Germany to have those classes. So that was the dynamic. That's why the classes were in Portugal. And we also have another formation of conscientiological teachers for 5 Brazilians resident in Europe, mainly from Germany, France, and Switzerland. That was a group that also study conscientiology. So they asked for that course, and Reaprendência provide them the opportunity to graduate as instructors of conscientiology. And next. If somebody wants to make any questions, sorry, I didn't say that before, you can stop me and make any questions anytime. So if you see again, here we have this green star. That means that is the formation of conscientiology teachers in Europe again. So you see different European countries, but in Europe again. And I was in Mozambique at that time. So the thing with myself in Europe is that I have a connection with the instructors in Europe, and I'm also a volunteer of Reaprendência. And the thing is, there was no instructors available at that time, so I was able also to participate again, helping in that course again. So if you see the content of the course, it's 20 classes for 3 instructors is a lot. So that's why as more instructors we have more opportunities to spread classes for more instructors, to have more experienced teachers, and to attend more students, more new intermissivists. Next. In 2020, we have the International Fundamentals of Conscientiology. So from here, we start to see more engagement of Reaprendência, because what happened? Before that, the international area of Reaprendência was not well developed is not the right word, but there was no many people interested in teaching outside Brazil, let's say. So in 2020, we have Eliane Voslav. She was supporting more our classes. So we have this group here with 16 attendees from Germany, Brazil, Denmark, USA, France, and Switzerland. And we have 7 instructors from Germany, South Africa, Brazil, and Mexico. Also a mixed course, 18 online classes and 2 face-to-face. So due to the proximity they lived, it was decided that the face-to-face classes would happen in Hemstedt, Germany. But then the COVID-19 pandemic came, and then we halted the energetic practices during classes, and this is still to be done because for everybody we have travel restrictions. We couldn't travel as yet to go to Germany to finalize these classes to this group of people. Next. Again, you can see here we have students in the US, in Brazil, instructors in Latin America, North and South America, and students mainly in Europe again. So you see now there's a spread in instructors and students, but again, you can observe a higher number, a higher demand for the course in Europe again. Mainly of those attendees were Brazilians, so the course was still in Portuguese. So many of the courses that I'm talking about, they were provided in Portuguese. Next. So then, when we look at those maps and we think about the Railbacks theory, we can think about geopolitics. So the demand for courses in Europe. So what happened? We have a demand and then we attend it. That's the way we operated. We didn't, for example, um, organize and structure the course and then offer. No, it was the other way around. So people was looking for conscientiological courses, and that happened for the volunteers of Caprendentia. So then we could see an increase of intercooperation. So instructors from several parts of the world giving classes to European and European resident students. We have the commitment of conscientiological instructors to the international teaching. For example, those instructors that were available, they were making time, they were making the course happen. It doesn't matter the challenges of technology that, for example, happen, and that shows the commitment and how important that was for them to provide the course. The matter so thing is that intersectional convergence with the parapedagogy and consciential self-education. So this is the matter to scene of reapprehension. So if you look at the content of the course, you can see the basis of conscientiology, but all of them it's focused on the self-research, to self-educate yourself into the conscientiological paradigm. And then we have the Railbacks. That means the self-education and resilience contributing to the scenic renovation of the European continent. So what happened when we have those courses? Even at that time that online courses were not so popular as it is now after the pandemic, it shows that it changes the all of the scene because we are talking about a new paradigm, a completely different paradigm in our society. So this makes a difference where you live, where you are. So those intermissivists based in Europe, with the structures, with all the debate about conscientiology, it promotes a change in the tosin, which means that it will do a difference. It will do the extra physical renovation of our planet where they are. That means mainly in Europe. That's why we put this Railbacks theory in Europe right now. So this shows the role of the appendencia in contributing to that. Next. So the Railbacks theory, here we put the hypothesis. From the point of view of the Railbacksology, the high demand for conscientiological courses is associated to a major movement of extraphysical reorganization in Europe. So this hypothesis is in line with the hypothesis presented by Vieira in 2004, in which he inferred that Europe would be the first continent to experience the Railbacks in depth, due to the oldest root of the modern civilization. So our experience, our hypothesis with the hypothesis presented by Vieira in 2004 may be realistic. We might believe a movement of a more dynamic, a more in-depth process of Railbacks in Europe. And for Reaprendencia and for those who volunteer in those courses, I think it shows the relevance of the role played by this IC, with the several courses meet such theory, contributing to accelerate the Railbacks in a positive way. So when we have so many attendees in so different countries in Europe, it shows that we have like a different, let's say, spotlights in different countries that signalize a movement for a change in paradigm and also contributing to a better place to live for all of us, because this is at the end, Railbacks is next. So what was the advantage and the drawbacks of the online courses? So the advantages, one of them is the spread of interstitiality. So it means that it offers the opportunity for those who doesn't have the privilege to live in Brazil and the facility to go to Iguaçu Falls to do courses face to face in Iguaçu Falls. They have the opportunity now to have that at home remotely with somebody experienced and with the knowledge of conscientiology. The parasepsis, which means that it's a cleanliness of the environment you lived. Economy speed, that means that the person doesn't need to pay a flight ticket. Some of them may need a visa to go to Brazil and do the courses. Energies, we can experience the energies, the energetic field, helpers, and other paraperceptions during those online courses. Internet is an alternative tool of teaching. So this is like a backup. In that case, COVID-19 pandemic showed that very well with the expansion of conscientiological courses. The mobility, again, the physical mobility, you don't need to go to another country to know conscientiology more. You have somebody that can teach you online. The chance to a paradigm change, so you can learn the conscientiological paradigm. The resources, you need a computer and an internet connection with a camera and a headset or not. Sometimes you don't need, if you don't have, you can be without a headset. Safety, para safety. So what happened when you enroll to a conscientiological course? There's a lot of counterflows that prevent you to attend the course. At Iguaçu Falls, that happened to me a couple of times. So at home, I think you experience less counterflows, although you can have challenges like lack of electricity and internet connection down. And para safety, if you stay at your home in a place you won't be interrupted, you need to take care of para safety. And also the opportunity for a cultural exchange. So you meet people, live in different countries, experience different cultures. So this is an opportunity to open your mind and have a different thinking about things you never thought before. But on the other hand, the drawbacks, you can have mean intrusion and self-intrusion that the teachers sometimes are not able to help in a manner that they could help if they were face-to-face. Some people, they are not self-disciplined to attend online courses. They may miss the classes. They can do other stuff and not be focused, and then comes dispersion. During the classes, some of the students, they turn off the cameras, we don't know what is happening. The people might be doing other things on the internet, because I'm talking from my experience. Sometimes if I'm not totally focused in something that I'm doing, I look in my emails and doing other stuff in the computer. So the computer is a way for a lot of dispersion, a lack of optimized environment for those who had the opportunity to participate in courses in Iguaçu Falls. You can feel and see the difference of the optimized environment that was installed there by the helpers that are dedicated to the cognopolis is different from your place, the place you live. Sometimes is not that very well optimized. Sometimes you move to a new place, this consciousness, extra physical consciousness, maybe you're not aware, and then you can have a lot of mini and self intrusion. Sometimes the lack of commitment. As I said, some people they turn off the video, we never see their faces, is something that is difficult to control. And some people they have difficulties to work the energies online. And maybe this is a new paradigm that could be broken with the pandemic, with the several courses in conscientiology, but that's something that we experienced and observed as well. Do you have questions, Virginia?
Yes, we have a comment and one question. Okay, I'm going to show you. And I have another question for you too. But first,
Okay.
Liliana is talking indeed as regards Railbacks. Since it started in Europe, I myself came across Conscientiology in Lisbon, Portugal in 1996 and started giving classes there. And later in London back in 1998. So,
Hi, Liliana. Thanks for your comments. Indeed, it's a possibility because what we wrote and I'm shown here today is our experience as Kaplandentia. So it's our historical based in our experience. So it's a possibility, and it's I think it's something maybe we need to track back and write about that, and link where and when did the railback start in Europe. I think this is a quite interested comment. I don't know if you have a reference to that, or if somebody wrote about that specific topic of railbacks in Europe. When did it started and where? But it's something that we can add on to this and maybe write another article about and do another study, something very interesting. Yeah.
I think Ana Catherine and Eduardo has this research about Railbacks in Europe. They did a course in integration action about that. Very interesting. And you know, Serenísimos Reurbanizatus,
Yes.
start this movement after the Second World War. Yeah. I don't know if, of course, it doesn't begin in that
Yeah.
moment, but this Serenísimos in the intraphysical contributes to the Railbacks, to this movement.
Yeah. I think if we trace back to the Second World War and we start to research about railbacks and all those visits and courses that other people did in Europe. I know Professor Valdo Vieira, he did some courses in Portugal, in Spain. And so he did start something. So what we have today is the result of what those people did in the past that we are not talking about here. This is just one part of the work.
Perfect.
So there's much more. Yeah. So the conscientiological teaching is one part of that.
Very important because it's related to reeducation. Railbacks and reeducation is a synonym.
Yes.
Another question here, it is Anna Ruiz about the advance. I think it is to develop self-sufficient in terms of confidence. Could you comment?
Yeah, I think for some people, for example, they don't need other people, for example, to go to the gym, to exercise, and I think it's the same to study. Some people, they need to listen music, to have the TV on, other needs to be face to face. But for others, they don't need that. They just stay in front of the computer and they do their own thing. But yeah, I think it depends. And I think with the pandemic, if a person has that difficulty to self-commitment alone in their home, I think it's something, it's a barrier, it's a challenge. Yeah.
There's a few comments here from Lily about Railbacks. Yeah. Another experience with Railbacks was that I felt it really firsthand during the London Olympics in 2012. A lot of change in the city country. Yeah, and there's another comment saying that, and then there's a Serenissimus in London. Right. This is great. Okay.
Yeah, I remember that Professor Valdivieira mentioned about the Serenissimus in London of an Indian descendancy. So, yeah,
We are
he
not
might
alone.
be doing something with a lot of nationalities together, even for a sportive event.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Serenissimos are specialists in Railbacks. Yes, one of the
Yes.
one of the things that you comment about, this is one question of mine. Uh, Yesterday, we were talking after a course that some activities here in Foz do Iguaçu, where I am right now, they are going to be they are going to become again presential, but they are going to continue with the online classes. So in every course, they want to do this online and presential classes. They don't want to do anymore only presential because they realize the importance of, this connection online, because you can have more opportunities to interact. Ne? And my question is about international. What do you think about that? Because international most of the time was online.
Yeah, so I don't know because as I showed in the previous slide, so the structures they had mixed classes, online and face to face. So they traveled to meet the students. So they were doing that already, because there's no cognopolis in Europe as yet. But I don't know. I don't know how things will be, when
But
everything goes back to normal.
goes back
I
to
can say
normal,
that.
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because here, if people from CIs here in Brazil, that there are a lot of CIs, start doing international teaching, in Portuguese, English, Spanish, eh, online, this can help, to the international, because it's one contribution. How can
Yeah, I think if the online courses could be maintained, I think it was a gain for all of us. For example, I did a lot of consciential therapy during this time because they provided sessions, private online sessions. So that was great. Otherwise, it would be very difficult. I don't know when I could be do that, but it speed up my evolutionary process. Um, and I hope they can continue with, for example, 100 online courses in my case, because for some mixed courses, then I have to think about money, time, when I'm going to be able to go to Brazil, my work, shadow, it's going to be a little bit difficult then, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the pandemic is, for us that we work in the international area, was an opportunity because the doors open, and then I think they will continue.
Yeah,
For
it was a
example,
big, yeah, it was a big thing for us. Yes,
so OIC is going to continue with it. Yeah,
okay,
so
that's good.
this is an advantage, a benefit that we gain from the pandemic, even it was not
Yes,
a
yes.
good event.
Of course, we lack, for example, the parapsych dynamics. We don't experience the energetic field of the helpers in Iguazu Falls. It's different. It's really good. But you can also install an electric field in your home. But I think you need more safety and para-safety, as I said, because some people they are in the kitchen, there's somebody around, animals is a little bit crowded, so these compromise the whole learning process, and this can lead to mini intrusions as well. Yeah, so that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Last comment aquí. The pandemic helped us to realize that not only it is possible, but it is possibly the future already here.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's it. You can
Okay.
continue, okay?
Yeah, I think I have a couple of slides more.
There's aquí another comment, a lot of comments.
Yeah. Psychic.
Parece que dynamics only in present, but many other things can be achieved still online.
Yes, I also think the same way. Yeah, because I did progress a lot into my self-research in depth now. That would be possible, but it would take much more time for that. Yeah, if I need to go to falls all the time.
It seems there's a more demand. Another question. Are there any perspectives of courses in South Africa?
For South African residents, for South African citizens, I'm not sure. I don't think so. My involvement here in South Africa with Conscientiology is mainly those online courses, which I think it makes a difference that I'm not aware, but I think it does. But yes, that's my contribution for now. If there's some courses here face to face, of course I'll need some support from Brazil, from more experienced people. I need to find a location and to find people. I need to find people interested. So there's no demand as yet. I didn't identify it. Yeah.
So aquí Angola, maybe?
Possibly, yeah.
Possibly.
With one person there that started to be very involved with conscientiology, it's a possibility. But let's see. It depends on them. If they demand for that, we can start to organize to attend them.
One person, it's a little, but two, yeah, you have a team with two. So,
Yeah. Maybe things are starting slowly here. Let's see how
yeah.
things progress. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay.
So next
Go on,
slide.
please. Yeah.
So the lessons we learned, the most challengeable points were the divided attention. Like I said, some people they're very dispersed. They have difficulty to focus on the class. They're not in an ideal environment. The time difference, so the classes they needed to be shuttled to attend the different time zones. Geopolitics backup instructor, so we always had to have somebody ready to attend any technical problems mainly caused by, like I said, a lack of electricity or internet disruption and technology, as I said. Self-education in resins, promotion of self-education and intraconsciential recycles. So this is important. As I said, with consciential therapy, that is another tool to promote self-education. So the classes, the conscientiological classes promote and motivate people for self-education to think again about the paradigms, about the way they behave, about the threats, the strong traits, weak traits, and so on. Extraphysical helpers, we had people talking about the perception of extraphysical helpers during the classes, um, among other perceptions such as chakra unblocks and expansion of ideas. And besides that, we promote at the beginning of the course a fly-in experience where people are motivated to have an out-of-body experience. We define a place where people can meet, and then they can then relate to what they experienced in the next class. So some of them confirm the same projective experience during this experiment. That was quite interesting. That means that, and proves that there's no place and time for energy. So it means that the remote online classes, they can promote that energetical and extra-physical experience, those perceptions. You don't need to be in a face-to-face class. Next. And here some final remarks. The online teaching enables expansion of the clarity task. So this was clear for us with the experience with different people in different countries from different backgrounds. The synergetic intercooperation among structures and students. So the ability of instructors from different countries to be able to be working and volunteer in different time zones with sometimes challengeable places, like I was in Mozambique where I had some issues with internet connection. Group karmic reconciliations, it does help and promote reconciliations where you live in the country you are, because I do think that if you are living that country, if you move um, to a different continent, you possibly have a connection that you may not be aware. But being there and doing conscientiological classes, in the example of this presentation, you are able to recover cons and then be aware of what you're doing there. The spread of online courses of conscientiology. So this is for reapprehension, and then after the pandemic, it proved to be something very good to everybody. A new education paradigm. So before or even during the online courses, some people think it's not so efficient like the face-to-face classes. Even the energetic work during the classes, during the online classes, proved to be something that it's real, that you can have prior perceptions, you have helpers during the online courses. So what happened, in my point of view, was an invisible interconnection, intercontinental connection during the courses, because we are in different countries, now different continents. I was in Africa, the students in Europe, instructors and students in North America and South America. So it was something that was kind of planetary, that we are not aware, but is something very interested to research about it. And the Railbacks is promoting reseeing and resexes with the paradigm of conscientiology that promotes the whole change of the holocene of where you are. So in that case, we believe that was happening with more intensity in Europe due to the higher demand of students in Europe. Next. And here I just mentioned the whole of reaprehension, internationalization of conscientiology through the specialities of parapedagogy and educatiology. So this was mainly people looking for self-research tools, self-research material, more knowledge, and being able to study by themselves, to be interdependent in a way that they can um, have tools and be able to evolve more, let's say, happily. And more involvement of the apprentices team to the international context that requires more polyglotism. So what we observed was that this was increasing inside the institution. So today there's more people engaging to have more conscientiological courses, not only in Portuguese, but now we are more focused on English courses. The comprehension that the maxi pro-access is beyond the Brazilian borders. So this is very important because there is intermissivists all over the world. And until we don't reach them, until we don't give them the opportunity to recover comms and be in touch with conscientiology, to hook them with a phrase, with a word that can allow them to remember the intermissive courses, of course, we won't be able to have this idea that the maxi praxis is beyond the Brazilian borders. So this is something that is changing. I think it's evolving in a very positive way. And I'm happy to see that Reaprendência and other ICIs in Brazil are engaged and committed to help other intermissivists as well. Next. And this is the slide with the references that I used in this slide. So the theory of the Railbacks is in the Homo sapiens urbanizatus. The basis of this presentation is in this article. Unfortunately, is not translated to English, but is in Portuguese that I wrote with Iliane Voslav, and the map that I used in this presentation from World Meters. And thank you for your participation. And now I think we can open for debate, for questions, to talk more about conscientiology, how we can have more courses, to engage more people. I've been participating in some events with ISIC. There was another international week this year where you can see more people attending the event. It was an online event. I could see a lot of effort put to have this event happen this year.
Yes, for sure. I think in the interassistance you can do in many ways. Teaching, I think, is the theme today, the topic. But here there's a comment from Lily that reminds us, this idea of the small, maybe itinerant libraries could also be interesting. You know,
itinerant libraries. I think I saw something. I saw something a couple of years ago here. Was in Franschhoek in the Western Cape, where you put a book. So it was a project where, for example, you travel to South Africa, you borrow a book in South Africa, then you go to England and you drop the book there. So there's this kind of exchange, but then you need to have the ability to travel all those places and be in touch with this project. I don't know more details. I don't remember the name, but I found that very interesting. It can be done with conscientiological books. I don't know. It's just an idea.
Exactly. But you have a book already that was translated into English. Can you tell us a
Yes.
little
Is this book
about
here?
this?
I
Yeah.
bought my copy at Amazon. Um, the main reason that I translated this book into English was for that, for English speakers to have the ability to reach conscientiology through my book. So that was my main objective with this translation. It's something very, it demands a lot of work. You need somebody to translate, somebody to do the proof of the translation. It demands a lot of time, and then you need people then to edit the book. I think it took more than a year to have this book translated. It was a big work that Liliana Alexandri was involved. She translated the book, and Sandy Gastas was the proofreader of my book. So I'm very thankful for them. I hope they will receive, if not, at least Sandy received a copy of my book in Australia as well and Brazil.
Okay. There's here oops. This is a comment. The, will you be making it available at local libraries too? Okay.
Yes, I bought a cup of my books, of my books to to donate to libraries mainly here in South Africa. Yeah, and one for you, one for Sandy, and for those who helped me with this translation, for make that possible. Yeah.
Yeah. Someday maybe you are going to do a conference in South Africa about your book. Who knows?
Let's see. Yeah, we
Let's
don't
see.
know. Yeah.
Changing the topic, Marcelo Pires asks, can you explore and share your ideas about CI's cooperation on international events?
I was not involved, for example, in the organization of the intermissivist event in Strasbourg, for example. Um,
No, but I think
I,
he refers the idea of cooperation not only in Strasbourg, but for example, a congress or a course with
future,
yeah, a
okay.
course with different CIs.
I think it's possible. It's just a matter to organize, and I think it's, for example, let's say in South Africa, if they want to all come here and do something, even there's no demand that I didn't identify, like there's nobody asking me for conscientiological courses here. But if Brazilians want to come here and do something, of course, I think that would be great. I think this is quite positive. I think all the specialities they have an overlap and they talk up with each other. So the fundamentals of conscientiology course is about that. It gives you, for example, the fundamentals of existential program, and then if you want to go deeper on that, you say go to Apex. That is the CI specialized in existential program. If you want to focus more in past lives experiences, then go to consecutivos. So we do that kind of direction to people. That's why I think the course it's a very important. It's basic is the basis. This is the most important things because for me it has all the important terms and words in conscientiology that leads you to a more in-deep self-research.
Okay. Talking about the challenge of teaching in the international area, because it's, here in Brazil, there's a lot of CIs, it's all stabilized, it's more stable, I mean. But in the international area, it's a war open. So you feel that it's a challenge to get classes, to prepare. there are less students. What do you think? What it be the skills that you need to develop to give classes in the international teaching? Do you think there's something different from giving classes here in Brazil? If someone would like to contribute to this international area and international teaching, how can the person what the person needs to develop?
So I don't have that teaching experience in Brazil, like in Iguaçu Falls. So I can only say that
Well, you have it. You have a lot of conference. You have a
no,
week
but
talking
it's
about your
different.
consecutive
Um,
personality,
but it's
your
difficult.
verbs,
For
but you have
example,
like a kind of experience. You're not.
now in Iguaçu Falls, for example, to defend a verbete, you have a structure in place. You have a team prepared, experienced team. So people prepared to do that. So when you sit there to defend your verbete, everything is ready. For example, my last experience with that a group in Portugal, it was myself plus two instructors. So we had a meeting with all of us, and then we say, no, you're gonna give this class, I'm gonna give that one. No, this is my agenda. So I was working at that time. So what is gonna be the time? What about this time, that time? Let's talk to the students. It's not like, for example, right now, we have a more structured fundamentals of conscientiological course in Reaprendência. So we have a team that works the content, the time, the marketing, um, people helping, you know. So it's different now. We have more support. But for example, at that course, we didn't have that. Of course, Reaprendência was supporting that, but it was not as effective as it is today because we see there's more demand for that. So at that time, for example, I think I started classes at 9 p.m. Something like it was late for me because I need to be at work at 8, but to be there at 8, I was waking 5 o'clock. So it was difficult, and then I have my internet was good, but there was an event that it was a windy night, so I didn't have. I was giving classes, then my class was frozen, and then the other instructors had to continue the class until I was online again. That kind of stuff. But it
Yeah.
can happen.
Yeah.
You can see now with the pandemic a lot of those
Perfect.
glitches during the presentations.
Exactly. But it seems when you have a big team, the impact of the assistance is higher.
Yeah, and things go smoothly, let's say. And now, for example, at Reaprendência, we are working more on fundamental courses in English. So next year, we're going to have this kind of courses for English speakers. So it's an opportunity for them. So this is going to be released next year. Yeah.
How many students are in international? You saw us the map, but I guess there are little students. Sometimes is
I think there was, I didn't count the average, but for example, the one in 2016, there was 10 students. Then the one in Portugal was 18 students. I think it's a lot. 16 students. I think it's like 100 students. I think there's less opportunities to learn more, to make more questions.
and these students that participate in the courses. Imagine they are listening us, okay? now or in the future? Uh, what are the prerequisites these students needs to feel to become an instructor? Because is the way, the natural way. You start receiving classes, learning, and then you have this motivation to give classes to
Yep.
others.
But that was one thing we observed. For example, those study groups in Europe, they start studying together because they have one subject in common. So then they have their own meetings, studying verbatim, articles, and talk about conscientiology once a week, let's say. And then after that, they requested a course for Eduardo and Anne-Catherine in Germany because they have a connection with them. And then we provided a course for them. And now they're interested in the conscientiological instructor. So that's the way we experience with those groups. So first a study group, then they participate in a course, and then they go to instructor formation. Yeah, mainly with Reaprendência. Yeah.
Do you think, for example, the student that would like to become an instructor needs to practice penta?
When I started my formation with Reaprendência, I was not practicing Pensa. So I don't think this is a requirement. I don't know what Unicin regulation for that, if there's some changes on that. But as far as I know, it's not a prerequisite to be a conscientiological instructor. You need, how to say, a formation with an IC, with, a
In this
formal
case,
CI recognized
what
by Unicin, that's what I know.
I was going to say that it's Reapendencia or IIPC, the two CIs that can form
Structures of conscientiology.
instructors,
Yeah.
yeah, to
Yeah,
give classes in conscientiology, not the specialties.
no, I don't know, for example, for you to volunteer, let's say, to another CI, if they need to be an instructor, I don't know the regulations, the protocols for that.
No, I know about that.
Mhm.
No, what I mean that if you want to become an instructor in conscientiology, you can access by Reaprendencia or by IIPC. Only these two CIs can allow you to give classes about conscientiology and project theology. Then, if you want to volunteer in another CI, for example, APIX, if you want, you can give classes about proexis, but not about, you are not instructor in conscientiology in other areas, just in that specialty, for example. And
Okay, yeah,
and it depends on the CI. Okay, there's some CIs
yeah.
that
Because I never
depends of
volunteer.
the criterias. Criterias.
Because I never volunteered in another CI since the beginning was representation. Yeah, I did other like courses, but not for another specific CI, but with another groups, with invitations and things like that. Yeah, that's interesting.
Okay, that's great. Partner is saying hello here. Liliana is just a few more courses and activities will hopefully be available in English by the end of 2021 and 2022.
Yeah, we are working now in the fundamentals of conscientiology in English. There's a big team that in the end Yugoslavi is leading. So there's a lot of people involved on that. So I think that would be great. I'm also involved on that. I can see how it's gonna be to teach conscientiology in English because since now it was only in Portuguese. Yeah.
Yeah. The important thing is starting. I don't know. It seems to me that's a little frozen. I don't know if my voice is okay.
Yeah. Your video
Now,
was
now
like a
I
little bit
return. Sorry.
frozen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you repeat your question again?
It's the challenge of. um, no, what I was trying to say is that. Yeah, this is the important thing is giving classes, Portuguese, English, Spanish, attending the demand, and then you start. Uh, and another thing is people need to be prepared because sometimes it's uh, to attend the demand, you need to have a big team because if you have only one person, two is more complicated. But with a big team, the things come, you can go in another level. That we experiment in this international week that with a big team, you can do more. Ne?
Yeah, so that's what we can see at Reaprendência. So it's the internationalization, the international area of the CI is expanding, which is good. We have the support of the CI. We have the glossary now in English, Portuguese, which is great because before that it was difficult to write conscientiological terms in English. Yeah, and to be familiarized with them, it's another thing because I'm very familiarized. I think we all familiarize the terms in Portuguese but not in English.
Perfect. Marianisa is saying that the pandemic gives a lot of work in the Railbacks. Yes.
Yes, it was something that let's see when this is gonna end and see the balance to all of us, because I think we're still in the middle of that. Besides the vaccination rollout in many, many continents, even here in Africa, I think that there's a lot to be done, a lot um, to overcome as individuals in this pandemic, because besides the virus, I think other side effects like anxiety, depression, I think is something that affect many, many people.
Another question that I would like to ask you is sometimes the person is not prepared to become an instructor, but she or he would like to become an instructor once, but now is not the moment. What the person can do to prepare, for example, to prepare to get classes in the future. For example, I imagine a person has like a topic that she or he is interested in, okay, to give, to study. Do you think it's important to have your own researchers to, even you are not an instructor, just to learn more or to write a verbet? What are the other options before
Yeah, I think
teaching?
if the person wants to be a conscientiological instructor and is not prepared right now, I think being linked with conscientiology in a way, like watching tertulias, doing self-research, writing um, an article, or keep writing notes about himself or herself, and even what I say, reading conscientiological books for some subject that the person is interested in, to work some trades like doing conscientiometry and conscientiotherapy. I think is something good, because something there's some weak traits that is preventing that person to go beyond his or her limits. I think it's maybe it's a time to recycle. which is
Perfect.
good. It's positive. Yeah.
Lily's comments that TEDx course doing self-research will also be launched in English,
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah,
so that one
nice.
has more than 80 videos classes. So the person
Wow.
can,
You see over 50 instructors involved. It's a lot of people. It's a lot of effort. Imagine to translate one book, it's a lot of work. Imagine all this material.
yeah.
Yeah.
To be a conscientiological teacher is a great opportunity to assist your group. There's a key. Your group can give you a lot of information about yourself as tendencies. Do you have any casuistic about it?
Um,
Um,
no, the only thing about the conscientiological teaching is that I observed my performance giving classes. Like the first ones was like following the slides and more reading. I was not so involved with the whole process, you know. I was not aware of the different energetic field, the different groups, because that's one thing, each group gives you a different pattern of energy. You experience different counterflux, counterflows, and um, I think I'm trying to become a better teacher, but to be honest, I'm not aware of the effects of in my group karma. I think being here in South Africa, even online, if there's no um, intraphysical students, I hope I have extra physical ones, which I think is great. I had a couple of experiences about that, but I think I'm not ready yet to see the results of what I'm doing with my group karmic in terms of conscientiological teaching. Sorry about that.
but I think she's referring to about, sometimes a student give a feedback about you. You learn with the giving classes, It's like this is this kind of interassistance that you are helping,
Yes.
but at the same time you realize that things that you need to change or
Yeah, I met different people living in Europe from different contexts. You see, it's some of them you realize they have a connection with, for example, with religion, others with politics, with artists. So this is something interesting that I think to myself, what I have to do with them, you know? So this is not clear, you know? So the thing is just keep helping, you know?
exactly.
Keep helping.
But you talked before about Turkey. You were the instructor that you gave classes in Turkey, or was another instructor?
There was another instructor in Turkey, but then he moved to Mexico. I think he moved now to Asia. So yeah,
No,
yeah. But there was no students in Turkey. Yeah, no.
in which country or in which, what's the country, the nationality of the students? What the episode or the experience that called more your attention about the students, about one nationality, one culture that you didn't know that it was related to you, but you discovered? Do you have this kind of experience of meeting with one student or?
No, that was not so clear. But there was a group that was mainly religious, and they have this person that they treat the person like an idol. So you could see that very, very strong. I have huge counterflows with that group during the classes. That was something that physical effects after classes and weird things that never happened before. That was the most, let's say, highlight experience I had with a group. Yeah, especially because we could see that connection with religion. Maybe they're still in a very interprison with that kind of Holocaustism. I don't know.
Okay, the Maria Nistor start the question, but the pandemic gives a lot of work in the Railbacks, and then see right here, too many had gone into intermissivism with fear. It is a signal that science needs to be expanded as soon as possible. You make an effort, and it is welcome. Thank you.
I think that this is what the Railbacks is here for. Imagine during the pandemic when the high numbers of deaths happened all over the world. That was something that I don't know for Penta practices if they experience some differences, but I had one or two experiences during that, especially at the beginning of the pandemic. And I think there was somebody doing a research on that about your experience, your perceptions during the pandemic in your Penta. I hope to see this article as soon as possible. I think it's going to be very interesting. But in terms of science, it's a very difficult paradigm to change. But conscientiology is the new science, they say. So I think we're here in a different paradigm. I think we need to focus on the interexistentiality. So I think this is the difference of conscientiology. Yeah, to contribute to the to a better scene of this planet. Yeah, that's why we're all here. That's why we give conscientiological classes. That's why we do practice Penta. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Last comment here. We have 3 minutes to end. It is worthy to say that in 2021 International Week, we have 81 participants, 40 from outside Brazil, and 19 of them were first time. Most of them from Romania, and Mexico.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know if you do that kind of research like we did present today for Reaprendência for the fundamentals of conscientiology, but it's something interesting to also map where these people come from the
Yeah.
different events. Yeah, to
We
see
like
this
to.
movement. Yeah.
Yeah, we like to do it, of course. We do. We saw we have the same results. So that Europe is the focus. The first focus is in Europe, and then the second, I think it could be America, North America. Yeah. I think it's the second one. Australia too.
Yeah, there's a good team in Australia now. Yeah.
Yeah, they are going to be present next. The Brit Cultures in November. They are going to present about conscientiology in Australia. By the way.
That would be good.
Okay, Giuliana, would you like to give the final message? Something that you would like to?
I'd like to say thank you to everybody for participating in this talk. I hope that Iliani could join us to give more details about the fundamental courses in English, but I can tell you that it's coming next year. So it's just a kind of marketing. For those who are interested to know more about the basics of conscientiology, this is the course to attend. And I hope to see you again soon in another ISIC event.
Okay. Thank you so much. It was very interesting. The topic, your presence here, I think we are going to recommend a lot of people to have the opportunity to understand better the international teaching based on consciential paradigm. So, people here, thanks, Anna. Thanks for your comments, Lily. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, the Marcelo, that has been supporting us. And well, that's we finished for today. Thank you again, Giuliana, and thank you all the participants. And see you in the next Bridge Cultures with the topic about Australia and conscientiology. And see you soon. Bye bye.
Bye.